Every day, your body navigates a relentless stream of digital notifications, noise, and concrete. This constant barrage traps the nervous system in chronic fight or flight. This chart shows negative air ion concentrations in different environments. The air circulating through city blocks carries only about 400 to 500 negative ions per cubic centimeter. But step into a forest, and that density jumps to 1,200 ions per cubic centimeter. In Japan, researchers formalized a method to harness this distinct environment called Shinrin Yoku, or forest bathing. To be clear, this is not a cardio workout. You aren't hiking to a destination, and you aren't racing to a summit. Instead, it is a structured, mindful practice of slowing down. The goal is to consciously engage your senses, smelling the damp earth, feeling the texture of bark, listening to the wind, and letting the environment wash over you. Clinical research over the past few decades reveals exactly how this practice triggers biological upgrades across 3 distinct areas of the human body: the autonomic nervous system, the immune system, and the brain. The forest acts as a highly specific, measurable intervention designed to counteract modern stress. We begin with physiological regulation. When you immerse yourself in a forest, your autonomic nervous system begins to physically shift out of its chronic stress posture and into a restorative, rest and digest state. The cardiovascular response is immediate. On average, heart rate drops by 4 beats per minute, and overall blood pressure reliably falls. Looking at this graph of the body's internal chemistry, we see a clear physiological shift. Salivary amylase, an enzyme that spikes under pressure, plummets to statistically significant levels, while cortisol drops. In their place, restorative molecules like serotonin and oxytocin rise. By rapidly reducing these cardiovascular and hormonal markers, the environment sends an undeniable chemical signal to your body. You are safe, and the healing process can begin. This brings us to the second pillar, immunological enhancement. Trees naturally release biogenic volatile organic compounds, essential oils like alpha-pinene and D-limonene, collectively known as phytocides. When these specific airborne compounds are drawn into the lungs during a forest bath, they act as a direct biological trigger for the human immune system. The presence of phytocides prompts a dramatic increase in both the number and the activity of natural killer cells in the bloodstream. It also triggers a surge in the intracellular weapons they carry, releasing specialized proteins called perforin and granzymes that dismantle virally infected cells. These immune enhancements persist for several weeks following a single forest visit. Breathing forest air provides a lasting biological upgrade. It actively shifts the body away from the chronic, low-grade inflammation that drives modern disease, leaving you in a fortified, highly defensive state. Intrigued? Finally, we look at the third pillar, the brain. Using portable, functional, near-infrared spectroscopy, researchers have mapped the neural activity of highly stressed medical students while they spend time in a forest. This heat map of a human brain illustrates exactly what happens. The activity in the left prefrontal cortex physically cools down. This specific region is responsible for the repetitive, anxious rumination that fuels mental exhaustion. This mechanism supports what psychologists call attention restoration theory. The natural environment is filled with soft fascinations, the rustling of leaves, the play of light, which allow the brain's directed attention mechanisms to rest and recover from constant digital strain. The cognitive benefits of this rest are highly measurable. Following a forest bath, participants consistently score higher on working memory tasks, demonstrate extended attention spans, and report significant drops in tension and depressive feelings. These measurements show a shift in the brain's physical activity, providing an objective break in the cycle of anxiety. While the data is robust, researchers are careful to define the medical limits of this practice. Forest bathing is an evidence-based complementary strategy for stress management. It should not replace medication or conventional clinical therapies. But as a preventative tool, its impact is remarkable. It physically lowers your heart rate, multiplies immune cells via tree aerosols, and quiets the brain's ruminating centers. To harness this yourself, find a local green space or wooded park tomorrow. Leave your phone at home or in your car, ensuring your attention is entirely protected from external demands. When you arrive, intentionally slow your pace. Engage your physical senses to observe the environment and take deep, deliberate breaths to capture the phytosides suspended in the air. In an epidemic of modern mental fatigue and chronic disease, stepping outside and simply breathing in a forest is one of the most accessible, powerful health interventions we have.